It's time for Chewing on the Wire Radio.
No, God! No,
Hey,
God,
no
please,
biting.
no!
Hey, no
No!
biting. Okay? You want me to bite you? You know that hurts, Daddy. I told you, silly. No biting, okay?
Power plays and breakaways. There is choice for 30 days. Stick 'em up, power plays. Ain't no messing in our way. We're not here with the day. Masasaki all the way. We're not here all the way.
And welcome to another episode of Chewing on the Wire Radio. And, well, it's not the first episode, it's just the first episode since we finally came up with a name for our weekly series. In the past, it was just called Bonus Episode or something along the lines of that. It's officially called Friday Fever. So every Friday, we'll be coming at you with everything you may have missed in the boxes of, what we cover, etc., throughout the week. Or sometimes we'll just be coming on here and doing whatever we feel like because we have the airtime on Fridays now. And now, this is a late one. For all you listening live, it is, I don't know what time it is, 10:20 at night. We had a couple different things we were up against, so we are starting later than we would like. We have our openings are either around like 11 o'clock ish or like 6 p.m. But then the Guardians game was on at 8, and it was this whole. So we're doing it a little bit later than we thought we would. But regardless, welcome back, welcome new listeners to the newly dubbed Friday Fever. Anyway, to get right into it, what we're talking about today: some more amusement parks, some more Cedar Point action, if you will. Snake River Falls, I believe it's 32 years old, if my math is correct, or what I heard was correct. And it's closing this year. It's been around for 32 years. I'm going to say 32 years. And it's closing this year. It's closing on September 2nd, 2024. And if you don't know what Snake River Falls is, it is the water ride right next to Skyhawk, where it literally takes you, like, you're in the station, starts going straight up the hill, do a little U-turn, and then drop, and makes a big, huge splash. It's a very, like, compact version of, like, the log flume. Or I think if you saw our video posted earlier this week on Tuesday, I think when Scott was talking about it, it might not even be called a log flume. As you know, when it comes to amusement parks, I'm here for all the haunt-related stuff. That was my shtick for about a decade at a couple different Cedar Fair parks, etc., etc. He was the ride man, so I don't remember if it was considered a log flume or not. We're gonna have to ask him that on September 1st. We are forcing him. Scotty on the Hunt is coming back onto our show starting September 1st when we are live on the air in Pittsburgh before that Green Day concert. We're forcing Scotty on the Hunt to come back for the first time since 2021. I'll have my co-host back finally. But anyway, to get into Snake River Falls, it is being removed. Some of you may be asking, why is it being removed? Well, I don't believe an exact reason has been stated, but some of the reason, in my opinion, is definitely the reliability. Early on, it wasn't open very much, and it's one of those things. I'm not very much into water rides. Like, the first time I ever rode this was last Tuesday, and you know my history with the park, etc., etc., and I just don't really pay much attention to the water rides, etc., etc. A lot of that is because well, one of the other reasons that I believe it's being removed, other than reliability, is loss of interest. And actually, hold on. Let's run it back for a minute. To get back into reliability, not only has it just been closed and it seems like it's constantly just breaking down, whether it's the chain lift, whether it's water functions, but it's to the point that, like, when it first opened, as you were going into the station at the end, it had a little waterfall that would be falling on your head. That stopped working. Don't even use that anymore. It's just little things like that. Like, it's just not functioning to the standard it should. It is a very small water ride slash log flume. Like, if you've been on other log flumes, a lot of times, like, you leave the station, you kind of meander back and back and forth, then go up a little hill, back and forth, then go up another hill, and there's a big drop, and then you're done. They're never long rides, but, like, it seems to be like two of what this is. And I know this might be an older version of those kind of rides, but it's just like, this is a stripped down basic ride, and it's not working all that well, to the point where the two things it did do, one of them isn't working anymore. You know what I mean? It's just, but then to get back into the loss of interest that I stated, personally, so this is in my opinion, and just what you can kind of see from looking at the line, etc., etc., etc. Water rides that aren't in water parks are slowly becoming a niche interest. Again, in my opinion, I've seen a long-ish line for Thunder Canyon right next door, which is like, you get in the boat, it either holds 4 or 6 people and goes or all over this river, and there's water cannons, all this whole 9 yards. That sometimes has a longer line on like a very, very hot day. But I feel like wherever you go, like short of Disney, because theirs are all these different themes, etc., and it's like a whole ride inside the water, right, and stuff. Less and less people want to be sopping wet just because they were warm at one point. And it's one of those to further push the argument as to why I think this is closing and Thunder Canyon isn't, etc., etc. Thunder Canyon is also used for a very popular, arguably the most popular, Halloween's event. They close it down. It's already been closed down, I believe, August 11th is when it closed down, and they start building corn stalkers. Which, if you don't know what that is, they put the corn stalks above your head. You have this like 3 foot wide path to walk in, and you never know where the monsters are, because they are also dressed in either ghillie suits or like corn stalk suits, and you got to make your way through a corn maze in the pitch black, and somewhere in there are some scare actors and animatronics and stuff. I don't know where. Change every year, even from someone who's worked in it. I don't know where, because they constantly are changing it. You don't know where. It's an amazing event. And I I was about to say, wherever you go, it's usually like the most intense. But then I did the one at Kings Island, and sadly, that was the only, I think, the only attraction at Kings Island that I was like, wow, I'm not. Oh, big yawn. Time out. Anyway, I think their version of Cornstalkers, or is it called? Cornered, I think, was the only one I was like, wow, this isn't it. Like, I wasn't impressed. Almost all of the other Kings Island attractions, we don't have to get into this right now, but almost all the other Kings Island attractions, I was like, I've never seen this alien theme done like this. I've never seen the hotel theme done like this, the wax museum theme done like in an underground little old ride platform bunker thing. Like, I've never seen this, but then I went and cornered, and it was like, wow, this is not a maze. Like, this isn't a corn maze. I was expecting a corn maze. It was like 2 zigzags, and then you were out. It made even, I don't know. It just wasn't what I thought it was. But for the most part, like all the other parks I've been to, it's been like, that's the scariest, because it is a legitimate maze, an actual maze you have to figure out the path of and figure out your way out type of situation. And so that's another reason that I don't think Thunder Canyon is going to be going anywhere, or if it does and they decide to close Thunder Canyon down, I don't think anything's ever going to be built on that plot of land because of that amazing event that keeps coming back year after year, etc., etc. But yeah, I just don't think water rides are all that anymore. Oh, and Max came up. Max, the famous cat, is now on the desk. If you didn't hear his struggle to get up here, and he's covering my notes. So hold on 1 second. Can you move that foot for me? Can you move both those feet, both the back feet? There you go. There you go. Oh, you want to say something? Go ahead. All right, that was Max, ladies and gentlemen. No, don't drink that. Don't. Oh, good times. Good times with animals on the desk. Wonderful. Um. Anyway, what were we going into? All right, so to continue on with now that Snake River Falls is being taken out, what is it going to be replaced with? So my main note on here, the big thing is I do not want to see another restaurant. That is my one gripe with Cedar Point. And I understand even with the most extreme ride-oriented amusement parks, you got to have some kind of family values, something. You got to have family rides. You got to have a place to cool down, feed the family. You can't just have like stands where you can get like fries and a piece of bread. You got to have something. But it's like you theme or like your marketing campaign is America's Rock and Roller Coast, and you keep that statement up, even if a park ties you for the most roller coasters in the park. Then you go on and build like a family coaster like Pipe Scream, and then you win the title back. Is like what keeps happening. But there, I don't know if it's a new GM or new CEO, and I'm not talking about the Six Flags thing. Like before that, they had Cedar Point had like a new some dude higher up in corporate, and that was when it started becoming like. And I know the first one I'm gonna name isn't a roller coaster, but it was like, let's remove Witch's Wheel, and I was like, all right, I was hoping for the upgraded version of Witch's Wheel, like that Superman or the Wonder Woman ride at like Six Flags St. Louis. Well, where it's like that Witch's Wheel, but you sit in your own seat and then it tilts you up and starts doing that. Nope, he took it out and built a restaurant. Going down the road, gosh, I can't talk again. Couple years later, takes out a Wicked Twister, and then he took out the little area next to Wicked Twister. Used to have shows that was gone a while ago, actually, but still, it's like, dude, another perfect area to have some kind of GCI or something, some combined two areas there. Nope, nope. Build a double decker restaurant. And I will say this is kind of their sneak attack, though. With that one, didn't lose a credit in a roller coaster because he also built a Wild Mouse. I enjoy those free spin Wild Mouses, so I wasn't too mad about getting the Wild Mouse, but I just hate like Wicked Twister was like there's still not another ride in the world that has the double twists at the end in that impulse launch coaster. No one else. I don't know if we just held the rights to it and no one else was allowed to, or just no one else fathomed doing that because we already did it plus 200 feet, and but no one else had that. It was still holding records, and he's like, you know what, restaurant. Like that's my one gripe with Cedar Point is we don't need any more freaking restaurants. Max is breathing heavy because he's mad about the restaurant. So that's the one thing. I just hope there's not a restaurant built on this, or like I might actually freak out. Like I might actually poop in my. I might actually poop in my chair. Like if I find out there's a restaurant going on in here. So hopefully not a restaurant, but there are some other different theories here. Another one is still just like we thought maybe would go in where Wicked Twister was in that area, then expanding towards Windseeker, etc., was a GCI. Then another one, I'm going to lay out all my options and we'll talk about them for a little bit. The other one was the world's tallest and fastest water coaster. Neither one of these I would mind. I wouldn't mind either one at all, as long as it's not a restaurant. I don't even care if it's another Snake River Falls refurbished. I just don't want it as a restaurant. But so starting with, well, maybe both of them. I was gonna say starting with the GCI, but I think for both, it may also incorporate kind of going behind Skyhawk a little bit and a little bit on the island of Millennium Force. Now, the situation being with that is I don't know if they would do that, even though there is no longer that Forbidden Frontier thing going on the island. But because of what's going on with Dragster and where some of the mechanics had to go, some of the areas the ride workers and maintenance workers have to take in order to fix certain sides, the new top throw, this, that, and the other thing, and the spike, and where they'd have to go to get up on the spike, etc., etc. They moved, Cedar Point moved preemptively, I think 2 years ago or so, preemptively moved their Halloween event, their Halloween attraction of Blood on the Bayou over on that Forbidden Frontierland. And to then piggyback off of that, it seems like they are trying to, other than the two buildings that were like built there and can't really be used for anything else, and they don't really need more storage, it doesn't seem like. They're trying to make all their Halloween events in the back of the park so they can put on the map, like after 6 p.m. just don't go past Gemini. You can still get to the back parking lot, you know, you can still get to Iron Dragon and like the, you know, the kids stuff like that, just don't go past that. It seems like that's their way of kind of keeping the kids out of there, you know, keeping it the 13, 14, 18 plus, whatever they want to be, the Halloween event, you know, is they're putting it all in the back, except for the Midnight Building and Erie Estate, just because what else would they, you know, they already have another storage building on the other side of the entrance, you know. Fine, we'll keep those two haunted houses. And that doesn't really matter because it's an indoor haunted house. You're not getting scared outside, you know. It's kind of different, like with their scare zones or stuff like Blood in the Bayou. I think they're trying, I think this is what, from working there for a decade now, it seems like every time that a land map comes out and they're talking to the QTs or whoever they need to talk to, and they're like, we're thinking about making this an outdoor zone. Would anyone want to take this, etc., etc.? All the land that they propose, like I remember 2 years ago, seeing their land maps they proposed, and it was the area by Gemini. They're like, let's just put the barrier up here, starting right in front of or right before the Gemini Midway, and then back is Halloween's, and so we can do this area right here, you know, right before the train tracks, and that became Clown's death metal. Like, so it seems like every time they come up with a plot of land, it ends up being towards the back. And then it seems like the reform that they're coming up with. So obviously, I've kind of changed my position, so I'm not seeing what they're doing as much this year. I don't think. I don't know. I haven't paid attention. Maybe I'm still in like little group messages and stuff on email. Maybe they are because they just don't take people out of those sometimes. Maybe I am strong. I haven't checked my email, but regardless, I haven't looked. So I heard last year that either this year or in the coming years they're trying to reform the Frontier Trail, how it used to just be the original scare zone, fright zone. Then it was Screamworks, and it was abandoned for like half a year. Then it was something else. I think the random sticker I have on the like plaque thing that I got, like thanks for being here all these years, it was the abandoned sticker, but I thought it was called like something else, like literally the year I got that plaque. I can't remember what else it could have been called. Oh my gosh. Oh frick. Forsaken something? Something Forsaken? Oh, that's gonna bother the heck out of me. For Trail of the Forsaken. There we go. There we go. Gotta do a ding for that one. My brain worked finally. Trail of the Forsaken. Then I think it became Abandoned, which like had the same, or not Abandoned. Gosh darn. What was that called? Hold on. I'm gonna go look at this plaque that's on the wall outside the studio. What was that called? Alright, hold on. Hold on. Alright. Alright. Alright, so it was banished. It was Forsaken Lake, then banished, not abandoned. I think abandoned is what the new one, the new scare zone for last year was at Kings Island. And I think it was literally. Oh, and then last year it was just like a place for sliders. Like it didn't even become like a zone, which was weird as heck. But no, so that's my point being where they used to have. Gosh, I was not planning in my notes for this to come up with like every old scare zone that they used to have like in the time that I worked there or even beyond. I like there's that area still like by Raptor where the like medieval times one. Gosh, what was that called? I sure, gosh, hold on, because I gotta look this up, even if yeah, it's gonna bother me. So we're looking up Old Cedar Point Scare Zones, Old Haunts, Cedar Point Farm. I can think of what the logo looked like. It was like a shield, like it was like a medieval themed thing. Carnival, Lair of the Vampire, Cedar Point Cemetery, Abbey Jackson, Toxic Tunnel. I think it was where Toxic Tunnel was also, but that's not the one that I was thinking of. Oh, is no one even gonna have the name of it? What is it called? Let's go on images. Not Carnival. God. Apologies for dealing with the silence here for a little bit. I have to look this up or it's gonna bother the hell out of me. Is it on this one? Fear Fair, and it was themed to the medieval fair. Like they have that space up there still. But point being, I don't think you can do much with the island unless it's putting like away from walkways, like putting a footer or something like that. Because I don't think they can move any like Blood on the Bayou. I don't think they can move it anywhere. So that was my one. Because everyone's like, they can clear out this island. They don't have Forbidden Frontier anymore. And like I know the Halloween stuff is only seasonal. It's almost like it just appears. A lot of enthusiasts, a lot of people, etc., don't necessarily think of all the work that goes into that. A lot of times you go to an amusement park, oh, imagine how hard it is to run these rides, keep them maintained. I don't think you realize that like there's a separate group of people and we do that work but for the Halloween thing. Like I'm still hired, back for the next year in April or May. Then I start working through things as needed, and then we open in August. So like I don't think the reason they haven't cleared the island is because there's still a haunted event there, and where are we gonna put it if they aren't letting us put anything at the front of the park? And again, that's an assumption from an employee. There wasn't ever a rule or anything like thrown out there, but it's just like every time a new like land map comes out, we could have a event here, or we can have an attraction here. It's like in the back of the park always. And if you've seen, whether it's on digital or you made it in time to get one of the physical maps, even in like 18, 19, then I think in 20 they stopped making them. There's the red area in the back, and it just says red area may be too intense for young children. I think they're making it as simple as that and not having any haunted events towards the front, so they can just put up an arch saying Halloween haunts back here. Look at the map. There's just a red area on the back. Don't go on the back if you don't want to be scared. Like I think they're trying to keep it to something like that because they have a very easy park where you can either walk in a perfect circle and do all the not scary and scary stuff, or you can stop in the middle and cut through and cut off the top half of the circle. And they're like, all right, let's make the top half of the circle scary then. If you don't want to do scary stuff, don't walk to the top half of the circle. Like it kind of seems like that's what they're trying to do. So I just don't know that anything can go onto that island other than like a simple footer, or they can even do it in the water even, but like footers or supports whatever. But I don't think we can really get onto that island in the way you think we can when you look at a Google Maps and are like, wow, there's this whole area of this island, and they could just clear it because Forbidden Frontier, the old attraction, isn't there. No, they cannot, because there's still a gargantuan Halloween Haunt attraction that still uses that exact same plot of land and pathways as Forbidden Frontier. With that being said, it's very much like I don't know how much room there is. And maybe before the show where Scott comes on, because he is our resident amusement park man, and like I said, you'll be hearing that on September 1st. And it's going to be the day after we visit Kennywood. So we're going to talk about Cedar Point, Kennywood. We're going to cover the parks, going to cover Green Day because that's during our little part of the tour we're doing with Green Day, which I'll explain to that in a minute before we end this episode. But maybe we can measure it out and then take it back to him. But if someone can measure, like, you have to be able to use the path in Forbidden Frontier, then come back to us and see how much room there actually is to like make a ride. Maybe we can get a better understanding of how much room we have then and there. But a lot of what I've been seeing for the water coaster or the GCI are like some of it would have to be on the Millennium Island or like in the water. In the water, understandable, go ahead. But I don't think we can use the Millennium Island in the way you think we can, unless I'm missing something. Because I was hearing it in the way of like bulldoze it, use that land also, like almost like have the hill go up where Snake River Falls is, then it goes down, and then the whole ride's like on the island, then it comes back. That path needs to stay intact and not be a low zone because it's still an attraction for the Halloween event that I don't think can move. And they're making a big deal about having like the most attractions out of whatever or whatever, 6 houses, 6 zones. So I don't think they're gonna move it. So if someone can come up with new measurements for that, I'd be interested to hear that, and we could break that down even more. And with that being said, those are the big theories I've heard, and my two big theories are either a water coaster, so there's still something water related, but I wouldn't be mad at anything as long as it's not a restaurant, but I'm still kind of standing firm on I think it's becoming the generational thing that people don't want to get sopping wet just because they're warm anymore. Like, they're beyond that. They've made things like, restaurants with AC or the like not flat rides, like the Wild Mouse that's indoors, like at Kennywood, Exterminator, or Laugh Track at Hershey Park. So they're like water ride or building with AC, and it's a roller coaster. I'm gonna go with the building with AC type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's just like I said. I don't go on too many water rides unless it's a park that I am like not sure that I will ever come back to. Then I go on the water ride. And out of all of those parks, which has still been like 10, there's never been a line for the water ride, like the log flume. So it's just one of those. And even getting more into the point, they announced that they're going to close this water ride and at Cedar Point, Snake River Falls. And nobody's in line to ride. Like, imagine if it was like the Mantis, or when that happened with the Mantis, or Mean Streak, even if it's a ride that has had dwindling attendance because it's rough, etc., etc. The lines were gargantuan and people were paying money to be the last riders. They announced that this was closed, and then my family, or was closing, and my family went like that weekend thereafter, and it was like 3 ride operators and 3 kids that kept getting on and off and going around and around and around because it seems like nobody gives a flying F about water rides of this nature anymore. That's just in my opinion, but I feel like it's beyond my opinion because it's stuff that I have observed with my own 2 eyes. So I don't know how building a water coaster is then going to heighten the. Oh, hold on, Max is getting down. Alright, anyway, I don't know how building a water coaster is then going to be like, dang, this water ride, no one's riding it anymore, and it's taking up a lot of space. Let's build a bigger water ride. Like, I wouldn't be mad about it. I think that's a very original type of ride. Not a lot of parks have, from what I understand. I've been on one before in San Diego, SeaWorld San Diego, I believe. But so I wouldn't be mad about it, you know. A ride's a ride, and I'd get on it. But it's just like I feel like water rides are becoming a niche thing in this day and age. But I think that's all I got for you today. Been here a good half hour. Feel like that's good to get off my chest. And like I said, we're going to get back into this in another episode because I feel like I have half answers because it's like we got two very good ideas that I think are very, very possible. But then it's like as you look at it, and this is why we advertise this show as breaking stuff down with industry professionals because it's one of those, and I don't mean any offense to anyone. We're all just having fun in this community doing this. But when you have coaster enthusiasts break this stuff down, they're like, there's not any attraction on this. Forbidden Frontier is gone. If you move Frontier of Flink, blah 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 blah, you have the whole island. You can just build the ride on there. No, you can't, because coming from the person that sees these land plots, tries to, I don't want to say like I assist in coming up with the Halloween attractions because that's like false. But it's like we're thinking of putting an attraction here. Like, would you want to help out with that? Does that make sense? You know, like we kind of see like the plots of land. Like they're thinking about putting one over there next year. Like, does that make sense to you? They kind of like take a vote, you know, for certain people who've been there a while, or one of the what do you call it, like QTs or what's the word, like supervisors type of thing. And just from seeing the land that they use, you can't use that land because it's a Halloween attraction they're actually working on expanding. So like I don't think you can use that island. And like I said, no offense to, I'm not like you're wrong, I'm right. We're all just having fun here, but just like that's what I think is half the fun of the show. You get to pose us a question, and then people who work there, or at least have for the last decade, you know, get to kind of answer and tell you why it, like, dang, I think you're right, or like in this case, I don't think we are, and then I could still be wrong. This doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm like, I don't. They're expanding Blood in the Bayou, so I don't think, unless it's just one support beam or blah 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 blah, I don't think they're really gonna put much on that island. That's just me though. Maybe after this year, maybe after next year, they'll be like, actually, we're cutting this event, or it has happened in the past that events or not events, attractions have completely swapped zones, buildings, etc., etc. When we started, I think 2 years ago, Blood in the Bayou was under Dragster, and even after the Dragster accident, when the woman got hit in the head, it was still under there. And then, like 3 weeks into the season, they're like, "We got a better setup for you. Actually, we're switching you out and we're putting you over on the Forbidden Frontier Island." And that just happened in the middle of the season, so it has been known to be on the list, disappear from the list, and the list of attractions, and everyone has to go to another attraction, or the attractions move. It has happened like that before. It is a very flip flop, flimsy type of thing, but as of right now, Blood in the Bayou in an expanded format is going to be on that island, so I don't think that's gonna work. You know what I mean? Anyway, to get us going out of here, I do have to quickly say, starting next week on August 22nd, starts the little bit of tour that we are going to be on with Green Day. We're going to be at 3, if not 4, I believe just 3 of their shows, thanks to SeatGeek and a little bit from iHeartRadio. We will be there for their Cincinnati show, their Pittsburgh show, and their Detroit show. And of course, we're making a video behind the scenes on the road with Green Day, etc., etc., etc. You can watch that on our YouTube at Chewing on the Wire. Y'all know that already. What else is there? Oh, during these live shows that we're going to be doing, either before or after the Green Day show, we're going to be breaking down American Idiot track by track, a different show, Dookie track by track, which are the two 20th and 30th anniversary albums. They're both American Idiot's 20, Dookie's 30. So Green Day on their Saviors tour is playing them both in full. And one day we're going to break down American Idiot track by track. The other day we're going to break down Dookie track by track. So come listen, come hang out. We're gonna have some Green Day week fun, as we're calling it. Green Day week is what we're calling it. So I think that means for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there's not gonna be any Friday Fever, or it's gonna be better. It's gonna be Green Day week, dude. It's gonna be Green Day week, and Scotty's coming back. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Listen to us. Listen to the show. Get on iHeartRadio and listen to the show. All right. I think that's it. I'm done.